Hey, so if you're watching this, you're either not feeling well and you want to get better, or you're pursuing a goal and you want some support actually getting there. You may know what you need to do, but you need the accountability and the structured focus, and maybe the professional container to really get there. And then third is maybe you've got one of those things and you're also interested in either integrative or holistic approaches that are going to help you serve your patients, serve your clients in a more effective and efficient way. That's where, having a practitioner or somebody to hold your hand and kind of make the changes and to do it for long enough that they actually stick. And of course, wisely enough that you're not just doing this and doing that, but it's like very systematically, one step at a time, in a way that makes sense, right? And that meets you where you're at. Not like, just a standardized course where it's like, this is what, it's like, all right, this is you. You are a unique person with a unique life, with unique goals, or a unique body. Everyone, hope you're doing really, really well. This video is not only about my foundation program, but really it's about basically the science of how you can implement change sustainably in your life. Before we get started, there are a couple important links, and they're just right below this video. Again, if you'd like to schedule an appointment with me, just add on over to the video description, click the button, and then click book appointment, and that'll take you to our bookings page, and you can click on relaxed alignment initial appointment. If you're in person, we'll see you in our clinic. And if you're an online client, you'll get a link to a video chat and we'll take things from there. What's yours before it has a chance to become so big that you're amplifying your quality of life, right? It's not an easy process, right? And it does take a certain level of focus. And that's where, having the practitioner or somebody to hold your hand and kind of make the changes and to do it for long enough that they actually stick. And of course, wisely enough that you're not just doing this and doing that, but it's like very systematically, one step at a time, in a way that makes sense, right? And that meets you where you're at. Not like, just a standardized course where it's like, this is what, it's like, all right, this is you. You are a unique person with a unique life, with unique goals, and a unique who you are, a unique body. And no automated, I digress, no automated program is going to they might get close. They might even get closer than most human beings would, right? But the point of it takes time, and there's a responsiveness, and we, um, you know, the best AI has been made by a human who really understood humans. And since the dawn of time, they've been studying the different kinds of humans, and personality types, and they have the big five in personality psychology now. But in ancient China, in texts over 2,000 years old, which were just compiled then, they were already highly developed systems. They had they had 25 personality types, actually. They had the 5 main personality types and then the 5 subtypes. And this was an integrated psychology. They had these body types. They talked about sound, how different people resonated with different notes. And they tested these theories time after time after time, developed over thousands of years, and refined. I just listened to a medical doctor describing Chinese medicine. He studied Chinese medicine and Western medicine. And yeah, he was saying, all sorts of cultural shifts happened over the course of Chinese history, Asian history, really. And yet this medicine, these theories stuck around. It's like, okay, all sorts of different religious shifts, and yet it's like these really simple understandings of the universe based on the flow of nature. They still here. They stuck around, right? Let's see. So it's just like there's something they were doing right. I mean, the reason I use the 5 phases is because it's big enough to incorporate Western and Eastern medicine, right? So okay, we're gonna talk about the program that I designed. It's a 3-month program, and I think the reason I talking about all of this is because I just want to say this program is rooted in a foundation that's way bigger than just Western science. It's studied. I've been so blessed to have teachers that studied what was true across cultures, across times, across sciences, across medicines. And so that's what we're seeing is supporting this program that I designed, as well as my own life experience and my attempt to do things better. So let's share screen. Okay. Good. And before I jump into this, just to give you a broad overview, I'm going to talk a lot about my background and my teachers, really give you a sense of the approach and what you can expect working with me or another similar practitioner. And then also, if I'm speaking to my online audience, but if you're in person, obviously we're going to be doing a lot more body work. We'll take your pulse, we'll go through the shoulders, the hips, the ankles, and then get more specific in terms of promoting relaxation and releasing tension you don't need throughout the body, and promoting the alignments that really help you feel aligned. Who am I? Timothy Motoyuki Prague. I'd say Tim because that's easier for the simpler minds. Yeah, I've been studying Eastern medicine, Tai Chi, Qigong for 10 years now, 6 years in medical school, and I'm just polishing off the tail end of that degree. I've taught and designed health curriculum for over 10,000 devoted, focused hours. I've probably thought about it much longer. And it's just given me a real sense of what's important. I spent, before Eastern medicine, I was reading books by the leaders in Western medicine, right? And that was what inspired me. Eastern medicine felt like a sidetrack, and then I got into it and I'm like, wow, this is much older. Maybe it knows a bit more than a medicine that's, relatively new, right? I've had some incredible teachers, world-renowned. One of my colleagues, Heiner is the founder of the program, one of my colleagues, because he's well-known even in China as a really masterful physician in Chinese medicine, and for the way he's brought a bunch of research and people together. One of my colleagues moved from China to come to school with me, right? Paul, he's incredible. He's studied Western and Eastern medicine. He stands right in between, and his understanding of that space is more than anyone I know. I spent a lot of time with Paul studying his teachings. There's still way more to learn, and I still have to connect with him, right? David, these guys, David's the president of the Worsley Institute for 5-element acupuncture, and he understands humanity. He's got that warmth of really, what does it mean to hold people through the most intense, emotional, triumphant phases of life. There's not, or you just receiving the medicine through the body and through the adjusting of the qi in the channels, which we talk about qi. A lot of the channels follow the nervous system that go to different organ systems. Of course, it's still, we'd say it's a different, the qi is still different. Paul, my teacher Paul would say, no, it's, we talk about the biophotons in the nervous system, that's qi, right? And he's not wrong, right? Maybe there's more, and there are different kinds of qi. Oh, there he is, Ken. I studied did a year mentorship and studied quite a bit longer in various classes with Ken. And then my root teacher, Michael. This is where I started my Tai Chi and Qigong journey. Yeah, he is, the real teacher. They speak to the beginner and the expert, and everybody gets something profound. The wisdom is fresh, and it's powerful because it's true almost 100% of the time in almost 100% of people. And it's a big claim, right? But that's what it means to be kind of a practitioner of certainly Taoism, but any spiritual art is you surrendering you're surrendering to your nature, understanding it, but in doing so, you're surrendering to nature. And from that perspective, you get objective, right? Closer and closer to that seed that is within each of us, and closer to knowing what the potential of everyone who's in front of you, and being able to cultivate that and develop that in a really, compassionate and nurturing way. So that's my goal. Now let's be an 8th generation Kung Fu Grandmaster, Doctor of Chinese Medicine, Tai Chi and Qigong. Qigong, it's older than Tai Chi. You have Daoyin, Qigong, sorts of exercises going back over 2,000 years, probably much longer. That's just when we started seeing them documented. Tai Chi is a martial art developed in the 17th century, where you have the principles of Taoism, yin yang, the 5 energies, or 5 elements, phases, after which my clinic is named, the Wuxing. And then so that's kind of my knowledge base. David he studied Tai Chi 40 years. I picked up he was probably the most influential in my very physical approach to Tai Chi, and really even in body work. Now, most of you, if you're watching this online, this Foundations program, it's a mixture of health coaching and really helping make sure all the elements are in harmony, whether we're talking about nutrition, movement, community, or that idea of destiny. Like, what is your central purpose, and how do we orient around that, right? And so we doing a mixture of talking and then these exercises. We can get as spiritual or as just physical, biomechanical as you want, but what we're doing, and that's what we spend the rest of the time doing, we just study or meditate together. I talk you through something, or we can just talk. There's a lot of freedom here, but I like to share these practices because they, at the most basic scientific level, they're training your body, right? To be more in alignment, to be safe to move, and they're giving you some way of calming down so that you actually are attuned to your wisdom. You're moving efficiently. Physically, you're efficient. You have more energy, but also, like, mentally, you're not making the same mistakes over again. And one, it's not just that you have more time to think about your decisions and you're calmer and you're clearer. But it's also that the reason we make the same mistakes over and over again, or we choose the thing that's comforting that's actually making us miserable and we're just used to it, because it's gotten stuck in the body, right? So it takes a physical practice and a mental focus to liberate those things, and then we're on the way to the capital U, the new you that really is going to bring in the good stuff, right? Sure, caffeine can be a part of that. I wrote a whole book on caffeine. I did a lot of research on this, and that is one of my specialties. And yeah, I haven't been. I came back into it for graduate school and for a number of other reasons. But who knows? Maybe it'll go away again, right? And I think if you're watching me online and you subscribed, most likely it was for this album, which is based on really those ancient theories of tone and resonance with the different personality types that we started with, right? Good. So let's talk about this program. So yeah, anytime, just go to my website and go to the therapeutic process. That'll get you right to our program. And yeah, we can just meet for an appointment and just chat. Nobody has to sign up for the program right away. I think it's the best deal, but I always discount 1, 2, maybe 3 appointments off the program if that's something you want to do. And yeah, in the first session, we really get a 360-degree view of what's going on. You can see our model is based on the 5 elements, but it's really organizing it's just the most simple way to organize information, right? It's like we have Western science and then Eastern science, wood. When we're talking about the liver, we're talking about free circulation in the body. What does the liver do? It sends nutrition to all of the cells. It stores nutrition as well, helps circulate water. But the Chinese, their liver was not just the physical liver. Their liver was like how is your life circulating? Are you stuck? Are you putting your head against the wall? Are you getting out into nature enough that you have the freedom to really see the bigger picture and to think about and to turn over in your mind like what's important. We say an hour a day, that's a trade secret, but it's really, it's sometimes I forget. Life just gets worse, right? You really got to take care of yourself. And it's not always easy. So it does help to have someone just gently reminding you until it's such a solid voice that you don't forget it and you don't dip into suffering. You beat it before it arrives, right? That sounds violent. But my teacher used to talk about this as practice, like you burning away karma before it arrives. You don't have to suffer if you do the work ahead of time, right? And it's much better that way, right? It's just you have to endure discomfort, but it's better to go through discomfort than you end up being more uncomfortable later, and you get less done. And that capital U that we're trying to amplify, it's just less, right? So good. You can see the main themes that usually somebody's just working on one of these because it's a gateway to the others. That's a common concept in Worsley 5-element acupuncture, but I think it's just true, right? So some of us, we're struggling with that openness, that connection, whether it's with ourselves, with a higher power, and it's sometimes it is on the stage of life, right? Stability, consistency, trusting oneself, valuing oneself. A lot of this does come through the nutrition. It's like you get the nutrition solid and we're good, right? We're so good. Refining the self, writing, just setting up your life so that you can, get that 10-hour workday in, or enough time to get into something deep enough that you're doing something there, right? And then, sleep. It's a big one. Again, if you get the flow in, and maybe not drink too much coffee too late, or have enough food to balance it out, right? So yeah, our first session, we just go deep into this. And then usually we'll have time, we'll do some sort of practice together. You can think of this as a guided, any Tai Chi, Qigong, we can learn any form you're interested in. You just talk and find what movements are right for you. We can also do sound therapy. You just lie down and I'll find a song and I'll tell you kind of how to engage your body in the way that's right for you. And you can work with that, and then we kind of talk after the session, or even during. We can give some prompts, right? And so we kind of doing this work together, right? Obviously, if you're in person, we can do body work, Chinese medicine type stuff. But even if you're online, we can still talk about the whole system. I can share some acupressure. One example, so I talked about the system as modeling human experience, and this works out since we're moving into the time of fire, right? So you have a channel that's all about emotional vulnerability, that's all about spiritual connection, intimate connection, whether that's with yourself and others. And really, one aspect is really knowing and discerning value, and is this the right place to open up, right? But anyways, first, if we have trouble opening to ourselves, then it's this point, right? If we have trouble trusting ourselves, or where we can open up to ourselves, but we haven't really built a foundation, then it's this point, right? And then if we pretty strong in the foundation, but we know we need help maintaining that as we do the work with others, then it's okay, we're here, right? It's this point. And then we feeling pretty good about that, and we're ready just to be in that to grow. And we're I know I'm committed to that work and I'm getting pretty good at it. Then we're at this point, and it's okay. So this map of the human experience onto the body, it's really profound. And we can use that not only as a teaching to meet you precisely where you're at, but we can go deeper, right? And use that just to support you in achieving your goals really holistically. So typically we meet once. We get a good idea of what you need. Obviously, if all you want is a pointer session, we can do that. That can be really powerful. I had one gal down the hall just talked once, and she got what she needed, right? And she's continuing to consistently apply that because we see each other, and I maybe remind her of that, and it was powerful. So but most people, they need that consistent work week after week, and maybe it helps that I'm right there down the hall, so she knows I'm here. Most people, they want to balance the 5 harmonies and achieve their destiny. This little symbol here is Ming, or destiny, where my mouse is. And find a way to do that in service of what the world needs, maybe in surrender to, or allowing themselves to be supported, it takes time. These are all habits. It's not just habits, it's knowledge. It's not just, it's behaviors. It's getting into rhythms. And it takes time. But the fruits of that, it doesn't just stop with you, right? It's like you do you, and then because you've got these simple keys that are essential to being human, that give you that warmth naturally without, you only have to keep it up. People gravitate towards that. It's like they know you've got something going, and they're curious. And that's really the point where that's really the point where people start asking you for your advice and help. It's at least in related to health, because you're starting to shine, right? Shining from the inside out. And so that's where we get this phrase, their curiosity turns to receptivity, and after the third inquiry, it's at the moment you speak that wisdom's complete. And that speaks to this idea that, and we'll talk about this, but as soon as you start to build something, people kind of want that. And so there is a level of protection and discernment. We talked about this with the Heart Opener channel, or the Intimate Relationship channel. And that's really okay. Knowing what you're working on and keeping it quiet until it's fully complete. And I'm a good example of somebody who needs to be more discerning in that respect, right? But I feel like I'm getting a lot better there. So vulnerable, having admitted an imperfection, right? Good. But yeah, typically it's that third time that, that now it's ready. Now that's the process by which you learn, is sharing your wisdom. And so really we're not, and the way I'm teaching you or working with you is what I'm sharing has become so refined and so simple that it's like when you've gotten it and you've figured out in your own words and in your own way and through your own diamond body is just the refinement of your experience. When it's passed on, it's going to be equally as simple and equally as powerful and equally as transformative. And it won't be that you're doing this because you necessarily wanted to. It's just the natural process of being a good person, and it just kind of happens, right? So, yeah, we focus on ourselves, and it just happens to be good for other people too. This is the scientific neurobiological cross-traditional foundation of change we talked about. First in ancient cultures and now in neurobiology, 1 day to change the mind, 30 days to change the mental emotions, 90 days to change the biorhythm. So this is actually the composition of your blood, the chemical composition, the hormones that are being carried in the blood. Because it takes about 2 to 4 months for blood and bone cells and even certain cells in the marrow to fully replace themselves. And when we talk about any pattern of thinking or behavior, the ones that are most stuck are usually the ones we learned from our parents or from society that we've been repeating for 10, 20, 30 years or across generations, 200 years, if it was from their parents and they never questioned it and they just followed the genetic destiny, right? And so now we're all of a sudden saying, you know what? I love them, they're great, and I have something that's forcing me to go a little bit beyond that. And yeah, that's why it's so difficult to make changes, because what's old is literally stuck in our body, and we addicted to that, right? And not necessarily because we want to, it just feels like home. And it's very uncomfortable to leave home until we realize that feeling of comfort is just perpetuating suffering, right? And we have to be a little bit disciplined to get out of that and clear-minded to see the choice. And that's not always easy, especially if we're busy and we're running a business or we have 2 jobs and we have someone at home and they're, always putting us on, challenging us too. And so that's where having a guide or a practitioner or a natural voice amplifier helps. And it's not a forever solution. It's just like, let's hold the container for that capital U and then figure out how you can gradually hold that on your own, right? And again, that's a skill, that's a spiritual resonance thing too, right? And it takes time. But we do get there, right? We get to this through these stages, and now it's in our body. Now we mastered it. Now it's second nature, right? We don't have to think about it again. We just do it, right? So, and anyone who's really mastered anything, gotten good at anything, they know this process, right? It's just when it comes to health, it's so easy not to do it. And when we come back to that phrase, the first health is wealth, it's then super important, right? So, good. We talked about this. First, you have to see life, right? That's the choice. Then you choose it, right? And then you protect it, cultivate it. And maybe that's that wait till the third ask that you share. It's like, okay, no, I'm not ready to, this thing that I'm working on is still in process, right? So yeah, you don't have to do this program with me. It's entirely up to you. We can just meet. I do also do health coaching, but this is kind of a different program, right? And I mean, if we do it that way, I usually have a very individualized idea of what you need, but I really think you get the best deal with the program. And we're going to get into the numbers, like why that is in the first place. Because normally it takes a while to start seeing the changes. And for all of those other reasons, I think the one thing I'll add that it looks like a year, they say, to set in the body, but I actually think when you're combining these somatic approaches, you can get it down to, and a practitioner helping you. I think some of these bigger changes you can get in the body in a matter of 3 months. I really do. That's my perspective, right? So other people might think differently, right? So this is for you, your sustained health. The program is 12 appointments spread out over the course of up to 14 weeks. Again, we got to really maintain that momentum. If you're in person, again, we can. If you're on vacation, we can try and do an online session, right? And we usually talk about our goals. Again, the first session is a couple hours. Then the follow-ups are 1 hour, but at the month bookends, we have a 90-minute session to really revisit the goals and reassess. And yeah. And then, like I said, it doesn't take us maybe more than 20 minutes to discuss what's been going on and the goals. So that's really where we have time to, you get to be in the driver's seat. And we'll certainly recommend movements or activities we can do together. Usually the Tai Chi or if there's something you want to learn in Qigong, maybe we can do that. But I always not overcomplicating things. I really try and stay away from teaching a whole set just to get through the set. It's really more about the principles behind it, because that's what's going to serve you much better than the whole sets. If we give you a movement, you're just going to really get into the nuances of that movement and find ways to engage it and have it be a whole body exercise. And then when you get from that, it's really going to apply to all other exercises versus having a bunch of movements where you really don't get the full benefit of any one of those single movements. So maybe this is one of my differences, that this is my unique approach, right? This is my master class. Okay. This part's just for in person. This is saying you get to choose between Tai Chi or body work, and typically we're going to stick with one approach. And then, but you can have a few sessions of the other one, and we just get better results that way. It's just a lot easier. Otherwise, one approach loses momentum, and then we all mishmashed. So, of course, if I think you really need one or the other, I'll let you know, right? And yeah, we focus on nutrition. I'll be doing probably online, hybrid in-person classes, so you have continuing support. You can kind of do this as a community and stay engaged. And even after the 3 months, some people are like, wow, I'm making so much progress, let's do the program again. Or I know what I need to do, and I know you're here, and I'm good, or we drop to once a month, or once a season, or you just come back on an as-needed basis or a per-goal basis, and that's kind of it. So, if you want to be part of this program or you just want to chat, come to my website, click the Make Appointment button. That's going to take you to our sign out page. And then, yeah, if you really know you want to do the program, I would just go right on in, sign up for your first appointment, and we'll schedule the rest of the appointments after that manually. And you will be asked to pay up front. And if you're not sure, you think you might, or you're just not sure, and you know you want or need to see me, but you don't know about the program, then you're just going to go to the initial visit, which right now is crazy. By the time you're seeing this, it might be up to its full value. It's intro prices at the time I'm filming this, right? So same thing, you'll proceed and then you'll go in and you'll book your appointment. And then, yeah, I think one thing I can do is if you're really not even sure about that or just want to talk, we just chat for maybe 20 minutes by phone. I think my phone number is on my website, and you can just send me a text and tell me who you are and that you want to have a brief kind of phone call just to make contact, and then we can take things from there, right? So I think that's it, right? You can get this website, I'll post the links below, and there's a lot more there. You can learn more about me, just read up, spend some time in that space, and good. I really hope, I hope you learned something from this. And even if you don't work with me as a practitioner, and let's see, stop sharing. Good. And yeah, I mean, these are useful concepts, right? And then, if you are interested in working together, I hope to hear from you soon, and I'm really grateful and happy to be at a time in my life where I can offer this kind of holistic support. And I just hope to I look forward to being of service. And if you just want to support me or support this channel, feel free to hit the like button or share with someone who you feel might be a good match for this, or even share on your page and be like, wow, this guy talked about some really mind-blowing medicine, really mind-blowing stuff, concepts. I do have a business fundraiser, which is really, it is my vision of what I want to do and how I want to take these sorts of programs into lower income and certainly the work I want to do just with high schoolers and get back to that. That really my passionate space of this kind of really focused education. I welcome all your contributions. Most of all, just thanks for listening, and I hope to hear from you or see you again soon. All right, be well.